If you look at just 3 years ago, what we were doing was unthinkable. How good it was, how great it was for our country. Our objective will be a quantum leap in the American standard of living. That's what will happen. Here are just a few of the ways we can do it. Almost 1/3 of the land mass of the United States is owned by the federal government, with just a very, very small portion of that land, just a fraction, 1/2 of 1%. Would you believe that? We should hold a contest to charter up to 10 new cities and award them to the best proposals for development. In other words, we'll actually build new cities in our country again. These freedom cities will reopen the frontier, reignite American imagination, and give hundreds of thousands of young people and other people, all hardworking families, a new shot at home ownership and, in fact, the American dream. Another big opportunity is in transportation. Dozens of major companies in the United States and China are racing to develop vertical takeoff and landing vehicles for families and individuals. Just as the United States led the automotive revolution in the last century, I want to ensure that America, not China, leads this revolution in air mobility. These breakthroughs can transform commerce, bring a giant infusion of wealth into rural America, and connect families in our country in new ways.
Now you know why Elon Musk has jumped on the Trump train. I mean, you heard the man. 10 new mega futuristic cities with flying cars to boot. The guy knows no limits to what's possible. We're going to see what's really behind this proposal. We're going to find out how it's all part of a new civilizationalist world order that's rising all around us. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to keep you sane in these insane times. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. By the way, did you see the latest news on Biden? The House GOP is now accusing him of impeachable conduct. Finally, I mean, we all knew this, but finally it's getting out there. This is where my sponsor, Ground News, comes in so handy. The Ground News app and website gathers news from 50,000 sources across the political spectrum so you can stay fully informed and see through all the media bias. Click on that link below. Go to ground.news/Steve to check them out. For example, we can see that there are over 180 articles in this story about Biden's impeachable conduct. Now, if we look at the coverage details and bias distribution, we can see which news sources actually covered the story, along with a breakdown of the political leanings of the outlets reporting. So here it looks like most of the coverage is from the center and about the same amount of coverage from both the left and the right. But then what's really cool here is you get to compare headlines to see what each side is saying or isn't saying. Notice this headline from the right emphasizes how damning the report is, while this headline on the left downplays its importance. So it's pretty clear that the left doesn't want to bring more attention to this than they have to. And thanks to Ground News' blind spot feed, you won't miss out on stories covered by only one side during the news cycle. So with a wild election looming, I could not recommend Ground News more. Just go to ground.news/Steve, scan the QR code on the screen if you like. Use my link. It gets you 40% off the Vantage plan. That's what I have for unlimited access to all their features. Remember, when you support Ground News, you're also supporting the work we do here at Turley Talks to bring you the most important news out there. Click on that link below right now. Now, the video clip that I showed you at the beginning there was actually from a year ago. It's a year old. Trump first proposed building new cities throughout the country on federal land back in March of 2023. And there were a few policy analysts that did take a very interested look at the proposal. But for some reason, it largely got passed over, I guess, in the noise of the wider news world. But this video is once again making the rounds on X, formerly known as Twitter. And his proposal is getting a lot of excited interaction. Take, for example, George Bakhizi of One American News. He tweeted this out just the other day. Quote, "The freedom cities will lead to historic job creation and the easing of traffic in cities nationwide. They'll become hubs of innovation and offer new families the opportunity to own homes at a fraction of the current price. The cities will also provide an unprecedented opportunity for up-and-coming entrepreneurs to build generational wealth in low-tax, high-reward environments. Trump is the only Republican who understands that the spirit of innovation needs to return to America. Some conservatives are against this idea because it reminds them of the WEF's 15-minute cities. But that's a foolish mindset. Trump is proposing these cities to compete with Dubai and Doha, and Abu Dhabi, etc. We need to beat them and do it better. Like Space Force, Trump wants the United States to be first in every category. And I think George is absolutely right there, and is not alone. Politico actually had a very good write-up on the proposal back in March of last year. They noted that Trump is indeed tapping into the civilizational dynamics that are awakening all over the world. We'll see that in a moment. Quote, it proposes an investment in the development of vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, the creation of hives of industry sparked by cutting off imports from China, and a population surge sparked by baby bonuses to encourage would-be parents to get on with procreation. It is all, his team said, part of a larger nationwide beautification campaign meant to inspire forward-looking visions of America's future. And that's key. It's a forward-looking vision that at the same time harkens back to America's age of industrial dominance, along with a confident revitalization and love of our uniquely American culture, customs, and tradition. Now, many of you may be familiar with the concept known as archaeofuturism. It's one of the key themes we explore on this channel. Originally proposed by the French scholar Guillaume Faye, archaeofuturists argue that the modern globalist world, rooted in the excesses of technology and mass industrialization, was provoking a crisis of meaning that made it simply unsustainable. Faye theorized that as the myth of unending progress inevitably wanes, future populations would increasingly return to what he called their archai, or their ancient wisdom and virtue traditions that have sustained their identities as a unique people group for thousands of years. Faye predicted that inevitably technology and tradition, which the modern world so desperately tried to keep separate, will inevitably come together to forge what he called an archaeofuture. Nowhere are we seeing this archaeofuturist vision realized more as we speak than in what's happening in the nation of Egypt right now. A lot of people don't know this is going on, but Egypt is in the process of building an entirely new capital city several miles east of Cairo. Though costs of the new city have been rather prohibitive, nevertheless, the vision is absolutely breathtaking. At the center of this new city will stand what's called the Obelisco Capital, designed in the form of a pharaonic obelisk. It promises to stand at a height of over 1,000 meters, or 3,300 feet, making it the tallest building in the world. The city will feature a number of artificial lakes, about 2,000 educational institutions, a technology and innovation park, a 90,000-seat stadium, 40,000 hotel rooms, a major theme park 4 times the size of Disneyland, and it's slated to house over 1,000 mosques and churches, including the second biggest mosque in the world and the biggest church in the Middle East. But for many commentators, what this massive building project ultimately represents is the redefinition of Egyptian national identity in accordance with this rising civilizationalist world. President Sisi is deliberately positioning Egyptian identity as uniquely the oldest civilization in the world, with 7,000 years of recorded history, powerful symbols of pharaonic grandeur and governance back at the center of Egyptian life. And of course, it's not just Egypt, it's going on all over the world. In short, we're seeing nothing less than the great ancient civilizations of the past in kaiju-like fashion rising up from the depths below and returning in all of their splendor. Orthodox Russia, Confucian China, Hindu India, Shinto Japan, Ottoman Turkey, continental Africanism, Shiite Persia, and what so many in the modernist legacy media are freaking out over, the MAGA movement here in the United States. And so what President Trump is proposing in the building of 10 new freedom cities is actually right in line with what's happening all over the world. A new civilization's world really is rising. And with the election of Donald Trump, we may find that our epic years of our past will indeed lead us into an even more glorious future.